Sony's PS5 reveal event may be in the books, but the road to launch day has only just begun. There is a whole lot to discuss coming out of the show, but I also found myself asking a lot of questions. Luckily, since the stream aired, a number of press releases have gone out, adding some much needed clarification to the various new game announcements. We've also been able to get a look at each of the new PS5 game trailers at 4K resolution and a much higher bitrate compared to the live stream, allowing us to get a much better idea of what the jump between generations is going to look like. With all of that, and a couple of days to digest and reflect on all the new info, I think it's safe to say I am definitely feeling the hype. Today I'll take a deeper look at the 5 games coming out of the event that I'm most excited for and get into why exactly those 5 games have me so hyped. But before we get into the games, let's talk a little bit about that box. I feel like the box itself has been one of the main talking points coming out of the show. To be honest, I'm still not entirely sure how I feel about the PS5's design, and I think I need to reserve judgment until I see one in real life and get a true sense of its scale, as well as a look at the back of the console and what ports will be included, which is still unknown as of right now. Also, we were surprised with not one, but 2 distinct PS5 box designs, one standard and one digital only. The digital version, interestingly enough, appears entirely symmetrical, with some even speculating that it was the original primary design for the box, while the PS5 with a disc drive almost feels like it was tacked on, especially when you compare the two side by side. Will this digital-only PS5 actually gain any traction, especially with PS4 backwards compatibility being used as a selling point? I know I'll be picking up the PS5 with a disc drive, as I have a ton of PS4 discs I'll be popping in, as well as PS5 discs that I intend to pick up as well. But what about the price? Obviously, that will be a major deciding factor for many when it comes to choosing between one or the other. Is there a realistic chance that Sony prices the digital version of the PS5 $50 or even $100 lower than the disc drive version in an attempt to get more people buying games off their digital store? By cutting out the middleman on every game sale, Sony is definitely earning more money off every digital PS5 sold in the long run, even if they lose money up front on the price. I could definitely see the digital version being less expensive than the disc drive version in an attempt to get more players entirely locked into the PSN store ecosystem. But of course, that's all speculation, and we really have no idea what the pricing is, or if it will even differ between the two SKUs. Like I said, there are still a lot of unanswered questions coming out of that stream. Ultimately, do I like how this thing looks? The reaction online has been incredibly divisive. Some love it, praising the bold design that catches your eye and will absolutely own your entertainment center, while others hate it, pointing out its crazy size and criticizing its curvy design that requires a stand no matter what orientation you choose for it. Like I said, I'm mostly undecided until I get the thing in my hands. However, given what we know right now, it's not the design that really bugs me, but more so the size. We've been able to compare the size of the box to other PlayStations, and there's really only one thing that could be said about the PS5.
Damn, boy, he's thick! Boy, that's a thick-ass boy! Damn!
Some of my all-time favorite console designs are the PS2 Slim, Xbox One X, and the Wii. Enter the PS5, and there's one comparison that stands out among the rest. The biggest boy of them all, the OG launch PS3. Now, I had to dig up this sumbitch a couple of weeks ago to capture some footage, and my god, this thing is absolutely gigantic. It definitely looked a lot cooler in the sexy press images compared to real life. Besides the absolute thickness of the thing itself, it also has that curvy design, much like the PS5. There's no easy way to stack things on top of the box. The PS3 space is the PS3's alone, and I suspect the PS5 will hog about the same amount of space on my desk as this beast. Now, I'm sure most of you are just gonna plop your new PS5 on your entertainment center, and it's not gonna move for 7 years until the PS6 launches. In that case, you have absolutely nothing to worry about, and that's awesome. Unfortunately, my setup here is extremely fluid depending on what game footage I need to capture on a given day. It's not a huge deal at all, and I'm sure I'll figure something out, but yeah, hot take. I wish it was a bit smaller. That's all. Much more importantly though, Sony seems to be really focusing on cooling with this console, so I expect the PS5 to be whisper quiet, which honestly is the thing I wanted most out of the box design of the PS5 coming off of the PS4 Pro. If a huge box is what it takes for the thing to be quiet, honestly, I'm okay with that. It's probably only a matter of time before we get a PS5 Slim anyways, and that'll probably be a lot smaller and much more compatible with my current setup. So it's all good. Okay, with all that box talk out of the way, let's dig into those games. My top 5 most hyped titles coming out of the PS5 reveal stream. At number 5, we have the new Horizon title, Forbidden West. I think we all figured Guerrilla was gonna pop up at this event, and they did not disappoint. Assuming the entire trailer is real time, which I expect considering the team at Guerrilla are absolute wizards when it comes to pushing tech, Forbidden West may very well have been the best looking game of the show. So why isn't it higher up on my list here? Well, maybe I did this to myself, but I was really hoping we'd see some legit gameplay footage from Horizon 2. Sadly, they decided to go with all cinematic camera angles when putting together the trailer. To me, there's just a different level of excitement when you see actual gameplay, with a camera acting exactly as it would when a player gets their hands on the game itself. Of course, Guerrilla themselves proved this back in 2013 with their Killzone Shadowfall gameplay demo. It looked incredible and stole the show, and the main reason it did that was because we saw actual gameplay representative of how the final game would both look and play. We didn't get the second half of that equation here with the Horizon Forbidden West trailer, which I think is such a shame, because just walking around in the first Horizon game, you really get a sense so quickly of the incredible art direction the team at Guerrilla is capable of. To me, sharing something like that with players would have felt much more real, as opposed to the carefully selected, quickly cutting cinematic camera angles. Nonetheless, I am just nitpicking here. The game looks amazing, and I'm incredibly hyped to get my hands on it whenever it's ready. Forbidden West will absolutely be one of the biggest titles on PS5 when it launches, and will provide absolute best in the business visuals as well. If you don't believe me, just look at some of these comparison shots between Horizon 1 and Horizon 2. Zero Dawn is bar none one of the most impressive games on the market today, and Horizon 2 already blows it out of the water. If that doesn't get you hyped for the potential of the PS5, then nothing will. At number 4, we have Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, which I will never be able to say without thinking Ratchet & Clank Ripped Apart. I'm sorry. Ratchet & Clank showing up here was a big surprise to me, and its presentation was basically the antithesis of what we saw with Horizon. Insomniac did all their talking with this game through actual gameplay, and that got me so hyped. If they just showed off this game through a traditional cinematic trailer, I highly doubt it would have cracked my top 5 here or left much of an impression on anyone. Instead, the gameplay we saw was basically the perfect tech demo for the PS5 when it comes to both cutting-edge visuals and the possibilities now available to developers through the super fast PS5 SSD. Don't be surprised if we see some of these game design choices, such as selective ray tracing as seen on Clank, and the instantaneous loading of other maps as we saw with the portals here, in a bunch of PS5 games going forward. Also, this gameplay demo was absolutely butchered by the low resolution and bitrate we saw with the live stream. Definitely watch this trailer in 4K on the official PlayStation YouTube if you haven't already, because it's a completely different experience. This game looks so good, it's unbelievable. We are certainly getting closer and closer to those Pixar-level visuals in games with more cartoony art styles, and it looks like Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart are leading the charge on that front. Insomniac, you guys are crazy. Up next is the Demon's Souls remake from Blue Point Games. During the stream, we were presented with a very cinematic trailer with only the smallest glimpse of the player character and absolutely no gameplay at all. But in this case, we are very much dealing with a known quantity. We've all played Demon's Souls, and we all know how Blue Point rolls when it comes to their awesome remakes. Just the official announcement was all I needed to get hype. However, the most exciting reveals regarding Demon's Souls came after the show concluded. We received confirmation that the Demon's Souls remake will feature ray tracing in some form or fashion, and the players can choose between a high fidelity mode, which I figure will run at 4K and 30 frames per second, and a frame rate mode, which will likely unlock 60 FPS. Better yet were these incredible screenshots, which do a better job than the trailer did at activating my imagination when it comes to how the game will look when actually playing it. These screenshots are like paintings. They are so incredibly gorgeous that it's not even fair. One thing's for sure, looking at these, Blue Point's promise that their next game will define the visual benchmark for next-gen visuals seems to be coming true. For Demon's Souls veterans and new players alike, I think we are all in for a treat here. At number 2, we have Resident Evil 8, aka Resident Evil Village, which was as perfect a trailer as I could have hoped for, featuring a wonderful mix of both real gameplay and cinematics. The RE4 vibes were real here, and that has me super excited. As much as I enjoyed RE7, there were times that it just didn't feel like a Resident Evil game. While certainly an improvement over RE5 and RE6, it almost felt like it went too far trying to reboot the franchise, losing a bit of its identity in the process. Here with the RE8 trailer, it felt like the perfect marriage of something new while also feeling familiar to the RE franchise as well. The village and castle aesthetic definitely conjures up memories of Resident Evil 4, and to me, that's a very good thing. Perhaps the biggest surprise regarding Resident Evil Village is the fact that it is a next-gen exclusive title, which I definitely did not expect. Going next-gen exclusive is something of a gamble on Capcom's part, as they're giving up a huge install base provided by the PS4 and Xbox One. But there is a big advantage here, which is the additional hype that will no doubt be generated by this game going fully next-gen. Come early 2021, PS5 owners are going to be hungry for new games that take full advantage of their new hardware. And while many third parties will stick to compromised cross-gen releases for the foreseeable future, here's Capcom out of nowhere dropping a gorgeous mainline Resident Evil as a next-gen exclusive, super early in the generation. I seriously did not see this coming and can't wait to see such an important AAA franchise and the masterful RE engine make the jump to next gen. And of course, there's Chris, and he actually looks like himself. Wow. What a pleasant surprise this was, and this is easily the most hyped I've been for a mainline numbered Resident Evil title since the lead up to 5. Good stuff, Capcom. Finally, number 1. My most anticipated game coming out of the PS5 reveal event is, of course, Grand Theft Auto 5. Let's go, baby. The best-selling game on PS3 and PS4 is now coming to PS5. Okay, I'm a Rockstar fanboy and everything, but obviously this is a really weird case and goes completely against the spirit of this video. Sony starting their stream with GTA 5, a title that will soon be 2 generations old, was divisive to say the least. People were pissed and did not want to see an old game kick off an event called The Future of Gaming. But damn it, it's one of the greatest games of all time and continues to break records 6+ years after release. You all need to respect the king, and I will definitely be making a separate video giving some more detailed thoughts on what I'd like to see with yet another enhanced next-gen version of GTA 5. For now, consider it number 0 on my list. But if anyone is wondering why Sony started their most important livestream ever with GTA 5, look no further than last month's NPD sales charts for North America. Nearly 7 years into its life, GTA 5 is number 2 on the list, trailing only the brand new Call of Duty and already surpassing giant 2020 releases like Animal Crossing New Horizons and the Final Fantasy VII Remake. You can't really question it. GTA 5, despite its age, rules the world and will continue to do so well into the next generation. But the real number one on my list has to be Spider-Man Miles Morales. While I expected to see Spider-Man make an appearance during this event, I don't think anyone thought it would be quite like this. We will be able to get our hands on a new next-gen Spider-Man game this holiday. Holy crap. Now, there's been quite a bit of confusion regarding this title for obvious reasons. How could Insomniac possibly have a new Spider-Man game ready for 2020 while also working on the new Ratchet and Clank? Something doesn't add up here, but luckily it was clarified afterwards. Spider-Man Miles Morales isn't Spider-Man 2, but it's also not just a remaster of Spider-Man on PS4. It is still a standalone game, and what Insomniac is calling the next adventure in the Marvel's Spider-Man universe. A lot of comparisons are being made to Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. Naughty Dog began working on the title in May of 2016, immediately following the release of Uncharted 4, and while working simultaneously on The Last of Us Part 2. Sounds pretty familiar, right? The Lost Legacy was released in 2017, just a year after Uncharted 4. So when you take that into consideration, Miles Morales releasing in 2020, just 2 years after Spider-Man on PS4, starts to make a lot more sense. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw more of these quote-unquote standalone expansions come next gen, with AAA game development cycles being as long as they are nowadays. The Lost Legacy wasn't Uncharted 5, nor was it Uncharted 4 DLC. It was an entirely separate, new thing, though smaller in scope than the latest numbered entry. I'm expecting something very similar here with Spider-Man Miles Morales. Only difference is, this game is gonna be next gen, which immediately makes it a lot more exciting than Uncharted Lost Legacy, even if it's not quite the full-fledged Spider-Man 2 we're all dreaming of. Eagle-eyed viewers were able to spot that areas in the trailer are from Spider-Man on PS4, which suggests that we may be returning to the same New York City map that we explored in the PS4 game. Though this time around, we'll enjoy enhanced next-gen visuals, instantaneous fast travel thanks to the SSD, and hopefully 60 FPS gameplay. Spider-Man Miles Morales is easily my most hyped PS5 title of the holiday, and while not outright confirmed, I'm praying it's a proper launch title that I can pick up and play on the same night I bring home my new PS5. If you haven't played Spidey on PS4 or watched Into the Spider-Verse, what are you waiting for? These are absolute masterpieces of their respective mediums and are major reasons why I feel such sheer, blinding hype for Spider-Man Miles Morales. And I don't think I'm alone, as the trailer views for Miles Morales on YouTube absolutely blow away everything else from the show. This thing is going to sell PS5s, perhaps more than any other game this holiday. Last but not least, I have to ask, are we going to get an unlockable Spider-Verse costume, complete with the Jordan 1s? This is key, Insomniac. Get Mike on the phone right now. Don't let me down. And that is going to wrap it up for today. It's safe to say that coming out of the Future of Gaming event, Sony has done an incredible job getting me sufficiently hyped for the PS5 and its launch window lineup. The fact that they have so many absolute bangers ready for the new console's first year just has me super optimistic about the next generation. The first year is usually the slowest, so I can't even imagine what they'd have planned for years 2 and 3. But now I want to hear from you. What games from the event had you the most excited? Have you been sold on a PS5, or are you still waiting for some other big titles to be announced first? And on a scale from very hyped to incredibly hyped, how hyped are you to play GTA 5 once again on the PS5? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video and want to see more next-gen coverage like this, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. As the summer rolls on, expect more and more megaton announcements for PS5 and Xbox Series X. And that big Cyberpunk 2077 stream is just days away, and I'll absolutely be covering it here on the channel. But that's going to do it for today, so until next time, thanks so much for watching everyone, and take care.